Hey guys, it's Elle with Powerhouse Couples for Life. I am so excited to be live tonight. And I want to say thank you to everybody that tunes in, everybody that is watching. Tonight, I am definitely talking about why don't I trust you? Like, what is it that this is a very intense subject, I think, for a lot of relationships, but for a lot of people, just to trust people in general. And that, let's address it. Let's address it. And if you have comments or questions in regards to trust, that you leave those comments. We are in StreamYard, so you got to give access. But I definitely wanted to bring this to light today in regards to how do we trust? Why don't I trust you? And where does that come from? And it's because trust is earned very slowly. When we start a relationship, we really have to build those moments of trust with people, and we really are observing, or we're responding and reacting to one another in regards to differences and the way that you think, and your experiences with one another. But it really starts at an early age. Our heart and mind are dependent upon, if you think about when you were a baby, we're dependent upon trusting our parents to provide for our needs, and for those needs to be met. And so if you think about it, if a child's needs are ignored, then they are going to feel like, hey, I'm not important, not wanted, or that I'm not significant. And so if at any point in time that those things were neglected, just your needs, it begins to form that initial foundation of trust. And you're wondering, like, okay, well, why does this exist? And when I come across, whether it's experiences, whether it's words, or even actions at times, that these things start to chip away at our trust. And due to those moments of disconnect, we begin to think, am I worthy? Am I important? Even in our adulthood, and what is my significance? Especially, like I said, if you're starting out at an early age, thank you for tuning in. If you're starting out at an early age and those needs were not met, then trust begins to form at that moment in time. And you have these feelings or thoughts about yourself that I am not worthy, or what is my significance? And with those experiences with trust, there has been a core belief that has been formed, and how we trust ourselves, how we trust others. And we definitely have to figure out what is that bridge, especially when negative beliefs about trust have been formed. How do we remove those things? And it definitely does affect, as far as relationships go. Our mind has stored those emotions up. Our mind has stored up those experiences. And when those things are triggered, it brings back those same emotions or feelings. Whenever somebody, you might hear a word, or there may be an action that, your mate does, but that is what is released. And especially if, definitely there's a reoccurrence of those things that have not been dealt with within yourself, or that mate it continues to do. And a lot of times when it comes to trust, it is that inconsistency for people, which leads to the insecurity. And of course, insecurity leads to a whole bunch of craziness and behaviors that, you're like, where does that come from? But it all has initially triggered from the initial foundation of how you were, needs were met, or trust has been established within you. And I know that with me saying trust comes very slowly, it is very important that we think about, how do we build it with somebody else. And if you came out of a relationship that definitely there was no respect, or there was a lack of trust in that relationship, then you definitely are looking for those aspects more than you're looking for the positive aspects. And we have to look at the positive aspects of this person now, because they're not that previous relationship, they're not that previous person. And so it becomes like you're building a bridge, and the bridge is vulnerability, and the bridge is emotional connection. And once again, it leaves you open there But in order to build it, and you have to allow that other person to understand as well, is that, hey, we're building a bridge here. And and you're on one side and they're on the other side. And those bricks of vulnerability, those bricks of emotional connection, they have to happen. And that, yes, I'm going to respond maybe totally different than you think, but work with me or be with me, and so that I can learn how to trust. And it begins with yourself, and not, ignoring the moments of connection from from your mate, not putting a wall up, because once that wall begins to build, it becomes a even slower halt in building the trust. And so we definitely have to realize, like, each brick, the vulnerability, the connections for emotion, definitely have to happen. And this comes through you guys sitting down and being very open in how you feel about each other and how you feel about when situations arise. And to build that bridge so that it will stand, you have to begin by working on the beliefs, in how you trust. What is that core belief, and about how you trust? And you have to replace that core belief, and realizing that, for me, I didn't realize that, I didn't trust myself. And so I had to come to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, what is this that I don't trust myself? Reason why I wouldn't make a decision, or I'm indecisive, or, I wouldn't go for my dreams or whatever. It was because I didn't trust myself. And then it led to me not trusting what my husband was doing, or how he was leading, or even how, and the things that he was saying to me about me. Because I'm like, oh, I just didn't trust it, and I didn't see it. And so it created a halt in our relationship, because we could not, go any further until I addressed those things that he saw, because of course he's the closest one to me. And so you have to begin looking at, what is your belief in regards to trusting? Do I trust myself? And what are those characteristics of me trusting myself, and replacing those? You have to realize that in order to trust others, that's the first thing, that's the key. The second key is, and when you are in a relationship, it's going to require two trustworthy people. You can't have, any inconsistencies, and you have to be vulnerable with this. You got to be committed with it, and you got to be emotionally invested. Those are the things that definitely are going to make a difference in, you beginning to trust again, and allowing your partner to realize that, not being defensive in any form or fashion, not being, allowing that wall to still stand, but that there is going to be, brick by brick, vulnerability, of emotional investment that I have to, to receive in order for me to trust again. And especially if you're going from a bad relationship into another relationship, definitely, suggest that you take that time to understand how much you trust yourself, and that you're focusing on the positive things. You're not looking for inconsistencies. You're not looking for any of the past things that you saw or that you dealt with, in that person that you are dealing with. Not to ignore them, but not to go into it and look in that form of fashion. I hope that you understand that. And especially if, you have the trustworthy individuals, you have the vulnerability, you're emotionally invested, that you're showing that there is dependability there. And that's the way that the bridge becomes built, and that there's not such a halt, or that there's not structural damage that is being done. But it's so important that we definitely address, how we are trusting other people, how we are trusting ourselves, in order for us to go forward and to have a successful relationship. And so I'm so glad. Thank you for tuning in, that you guys are able to hopefully receive this jewel about trust. And I mean, address it, even if you feel like, my mate is trustworthy, but how much do you really trust yourself in going for what you want in life, and you guys reaching your goals and dreams, and what you are looking for in regards to living your life to the maximum experience. I love you guys, and definitely look forward to tomorrow. And definitely like our page, Powerhouse Couples for Life. Go and join our group, Next Level Relationship and Love Breakthrough. And I hope this was a blessing to you all. We love you. Bye.